What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Podcast. I have a very special guest with me today. He's a big deal. He's a big deal. Or am I exaggerating?
You're exaggerating. First of all your guests are special. To the point that I'm wondering, okay, what am I doing here?
Everyone keeps telling me that now. Like, come on, I'm not special. But no, I consider anybody who comes to this platform special. Special to me, of course, because, you know, it could be anywhere else doing anything that you want.
True.
But you're here.
Yeah.
So introduce yourself. Tell the people your name and what you do before we get to it.
Yeah, my name is Mwirigi.
Yeah.
And I do quite a number of things, primarily on the internet. But I think the number one thing I'm doing right now is I'm a co-host on a car show called Cars with Big Boy Trev that airs on KTN Home on Sundays at 6:30. I MC events and gigs and the like. And I do a little social media influencing on the side.
You get checks, man. I've seen you around.
I think and I talk about what I'm thinking about and stuff.
I see online. Like, I've still haven't gotten any opportunity to have that in partnership with thingy on Instagram. I was like, no, we don't have to put that.
Those are legal requirements. That has nothing to do with
Exactly. But anyway, let's get to it, bro.
No problem.
So what exactly... Even before the car show, because I had always been seeing you online, and I think the first time we met in person was during the White Cup thingy.
White Cup, the one in Nanyuki.
Yeah, no, isn't it? Isn't that where we actually had like at least a convo? Or no?
I think probably that or Two Rivers. Was it Two Rivers? When we were
Two Rivers was later.
Restaurant week. Maybe.
I think it was the White Cup thing in
the gig in
Nanyuki.
Nanyuki, the first time they were doing the branch.
I mean,
because even me had been seeing around. You know, the thing is, like, me, and a lot of people have been telling me I'm one of these weird people that just sits on the periphery of this scene. So a lot of people are aware that I exist but don't really know what I do, which is an interesting thing.
Which that was the case, because I had like, you know, you bump into someone here, one event, the next event, but you still don't have like a common ground on things that you can talk about. But I did like, you know, like a little bit of research. Here and there. And
like the show you.
So many.
Just playing.
So many things popped up online.
And
you know, I'll just ask about like the things that I've seen, and you know, you can always like add to whatever else.
No problem.
So for starters, I'm not sure. I don't know what your thing with Bake is. What's Bake, first of all?
It's a Bloggers Association of Kenya. We usually call it BAKE.
It's not Bake?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know. Maybe you used to love basketball. I don't know. Maybe that might be the thing. But
because I've never, like, I know it's always popping up once a year, but I've never understood exactly what it is.
Okay, so the thing that you're referring to now is, of course, now the awards that happens once in a year. So I was one of the founder members of the Bloggers Association of Kenya, and I was associated with it as head of operations, one of the directors for the first few years when it was setting up. So very interesting thing. I think what happened is we were this is a long time ago now, and everybody was blogging more than doing social media. And realized you'd be stronger together than we would be apart, because what was happening is what you're seeing a lot happening right now. So when brands are engaging people, they're doing it on a one-on-one basis, and then everybody has their own deals, and some guys are getting shortchanged. So we're like, you know what?
Exactly.
It would be better if we could come together. And so that guys can, you know, come to an agreement on things like rates and the like. But even before we talk about now the situation of making money, it was easier for us as an association to approach some of these people than an individual. So for instance, let's say you wanted to do an interview with somebody at Safaricom. Now, like you as KissCapades, now you're sending an email to info@safaricom.co.ke asking for an interview with, let's say, the CEO. I mean, it's very difficult for you to get that access.
Even pay attention.
True. But then now when you're saying the association, okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people that want to get in touch with you, then it makes it a bit easier.
And so it's coming from like a formal place.
It's coming from a formal place, formal entity. And then also now just giving people a forum to share some of the problems that they're having, because like a lot of what happens is there might be challenges that guys were having at the time. You know, how do you pick a domain name? How do you host? how frequently should you post. So we used to do a lot of stuff like that, a lot of training around because we already had collective experience, and then just sharing that experience with people who wanted to start. Because at the time, what we realized is that there was a lot of content about Kenya on the internet, but it was not being written by Kenyans.
True.
So we were thinking it's very important for us to do as much as possible to try and facilitate people telling their own story. So that's basically the genesis of the Bloggers Association of Kenya. So the primary thing was helping people to tell a Kenyan story in a Kenyan voice. And it's been several years right now.
Has it evolved, or
it has. I mean, like the part of the reason we are doing the awards, in addition to recognizing excellence, it was also a discovery mechanism. Because what tends to happen, and I see that happening a lot right now, is you usually will only talk to people that is a friend of a friend, or like if you wanted to find, So one of the advantages of now creating the awards was that it was an incentive for people to come out. And ever since the first award ceremony to date, we've always discovered people that you'd never have seen, because they are not people that are followed by your friends. They're not shared on your WhatsApps. They're not shared on your... And there's so much talent out there. So that's one of the things that I think I'm very, very glad that we've given that people that opportunity. And we keep telling guys that even if you don't win the awards, just the fact that you've been nominated, it's a lot. Thing. Means a lot.
Visibility, and people kind of start paying attention to it.
And there are people who have taken it and run with it, and they're doing incredible, amazing things. And all I can say is that I'm glad to have played a part, however small, in doing some of those things.
But what do you see, like... because now I think there's a bigger problem with just like content creators. You see the way you've said about blogging and everything.
Yeah.
Like now content creators are getting shortchanged left, right, and center.
Yeah.
But do you think you guys would be able to try and come up with an entity like that, or people are just too wild right now to be?
I don't
to come up with.
I don't really think it's a question of people being wild. It's just understanding, like, there are advantages to being together. Yeah, and I see this happening a lot even now. I think photographers have done a really good job of
They have. They've always have.
Always have. As in, even when it comes to things like, sharing lenses, sharing equipment, helping guys out with certain things. It's a wonderful thing to see, because even like these events that we keep meeting at, you'll find there are many photographers, and the guy's like, hey dude, can you swing me that lens? Stuff like that. So it's a really wonderful thing to see. And in any field, it doesn't even have to be in content creation. It could be in anything that you're doing. Once you pull together a group of people that are like-minded, amazing things will happen.
That's true.
So I think like what we need to do is, again, to separate the idea of there's the creation of the art by itself, and then there's monetizing. So the challenge, from what you're saying now, is coming on the side of monetizing. Yeah. And that requires a completely different skill set.
Define monetizing for people who don't know.
Is now how do you make money from what it is that
because that's the first question that people will ask you, like, okay, you're doing this and this content is good, how are you monetizing it?
Yeah, how are you monetizing? So that's where the challenge comes now, because you could be a spectacular photographer, you could be a spectacular blogger, could be a spectacular Twitter personality. You're getting great engagement and fantastic things, but how are you packaging that in a way that can be bought by someone? Are you thinking about KRA? Are you thinking about, there's a lot of stuff that you need to think about. We all got that email, don't we? Digital economy. But basically thinking about how you're packaging a product, then how you're pricing your product, which I think every time I watch your show, that's something that it always comes out. So a lot of the time when people are saying they're being shortchanged, it's you didn't know how to price your product. So what happens is when eventually you're doing the maths at the end of the day, when the check comes in, and then realize, oh my god, I actually spent this much time, I spent this much actual cash. I spent this much in my resources. I turned down another job, because guys always forget that there's opportunity cost. Somebody else could have wanted to pay you.
Most of the time that's the case.
So just thinking about that as a whole, now pricing yourself, it's a different skill set from the thing that you're used to doing. So I think like one of the things we were trying to do at the association back when I was there is some of the training was around some of those things. I'm not active on a regular basis.
Why?
See, because I'm not a Taliban. You have to let somebody else take over. But anyway, end of the day, all things considered, it's being run by people who know what they're doing. They're taking it now into the 2020s, and that you have to let that happen. It's not something.
True. But so, it's tricky you can't, like you said, you have your own even personal projects and everything that needs your attention as well. Is this something that this space something that you've always wanted to get into, or have you had like other jobs before?
I've had very many other jobs before. In fact, like the thing that really shocks me.
We need to know what shaped you, like this character called Mwirigi.
My first job was I was fixing printers.
You're fixing printers?
Yeah, I was maintaining printers and blowing computers and stuff now.
So you had inks, nini, and those two aprons, nini.
Aprons, the blower. What is this thing called? Spirit?
Yeah,
the works, and also now like a bit of soldering and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not making this shit up, eh?
No, I'm not making this stuff up. I used to work for a company called Network Source. They used to be on Chaka Road. Can remember them fondly. They're still on my CV.
Okay. What else? What other jobs
and
maybe that people wouldn't know?
After that, now I actually worked as an auditor. So yeah, I was working in a firm at the time. It was called HLB Asheville. Now it's called RSM Asheville. Then I moved on to PKF. So I was doing consulting actually. I used to do due diligences and other boring things like that. Okay. Which is very strange because in that space,
it's a big shift.
In that space, being called creative is technically illegal.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting thing. But I think audit was nice because it gives you an insight into very many companies and how they work. So the thing is, when you're doing an audit, what you're looking at is basically three main things. So you're looking at how somebody collects money, how somebody spends money, and then once the money is in the company, what they do with it. So you're looking at three key things. But those three things will work for any business, whether it's a bank, whether it's a fish processing plant. I went to one in Kisumu once upon a time, whether it's an NGO. Those are the things. So one of the things I used to love was that diversity in the clients. Like today you're working in a fish processing plant. Tomorrow something completely different. You're in Premier Bag and Cottage in Thika doing sisal ropes, and it was really interesting. So consequently, I'm in a situation where I know a little about a lot of things, which is a nice thing.
Which is nice because it still builds your skill set.
And just helps you to think. And then also because of the reporting that we used to do, I'm very good at doing reports, and I am spectacular at Microsoft Excel. I
don't know how to do all those things, and I think
Microsoft Excel, as in me now, hey, pivot tables, nini the works, macros, we can't play. Yeah. So I think like I'm glad that I went through
those things
because like you're saying now, those are the things that build the character. So it's helped me to be who I am right now, and I'm always grateful.
Because I think anybody would be lucky if they've partnered with you in anything, because you sound like you. Nobody can play you. No, I'm just saying.
Of course, I can get played.
No, because
I was not a forensic auditor. I only did that once.
But that once makes you be aware of so many things. If you walk into a room, like a client can't really start throwing so many random things to actually.
You'd be quite surprised because like what we're doing in audit is after the fact. We're not preventing something from happening.
But here you've said reports, all those things. People, personal interaction skills with people.
True.
You can actually read people a lot as well.
That I have to say, yes, it's true. It's true. That challenge, of course, at that time was. People never want to talk to an auditor, so you really have to be
auditor.
I think one of the things
we're off for lunch.
I used to just be very forceful, and I think my voice can allow me to do that. Just make requests and show me that invoice from July 2017. You spent 1,276, and I need to know why.
Why?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to hear that, especially with that voice.
So you can't do that, and then at the end of the day, you're like, hey, by the way, can I catch up with you for a drink?
It's not happening.
Nothing. And then the hours are also crazy. I think that's part of the reason why I just took a step aside from that life, because it's like one of the things I used to like was that in the very early stages when you're just starting out, it's very. The word I'm looking for here, there's meritocracy. Like you get promoted based on what it is you're able to do. Because at the end of the day, as in the audit firm is liable for the work that you're doing. So you really need to be able to do the work. As much as politics is a saying, at the end of the day, you need to be able to actually do the work and have people rely on what you're saying. But to some extent, just like with a law firm, I mean, it is literally a pyramid. There are partners at the top, and then there are associates at the bottom. There are like 400 associates. There are like 15 partners. So by the time you get to all the way up, I just sat down and looked at the situation. I was like, not going to take forever. I was like, I don't see myself I don't see myself chasing this path.
So what made you like drift all the way to like this creative space? Because all these other things that you're mentioning are super formal.
Yeah, they're very formal.
Yeah, super formal.
Even to this day, I like to wear a suit whenever I'm doing a presentation. It makes me feel confident. It's like a suit of armor, technically, which is very weird. Because a lot of times when people are thinking,
but what comes out of my mouth might just be like, come on, this guy is just... So I'd rather go in with somebody else who knows how to maneuver and talk about those things. Yeah. But so how did you end up in this space?
I actually was like on the Twitter space, as in I had a blog. I had a car blog actually, which is very interesting because that's the first thing that I started before now the tech blog that people know me a lot for. So it's like I've gone back. It's like I've gone back to my roots now with the car show at the moment. And so what happened is that there was this opportunity that came up when I was still working. So I took leave and did it. And it was really interesting because what we were doing is that we took all 5 pickups that were being sold by Nissan Kenya, and then we did a relay taking. It's that time there was farming in northeastern, and so we did a relay taking a ton of relief food from Mombasa to Lodwar. So what was happening is that it was a dummy payload. We actually ended up taking around 9 tons and associated other stuff, and then the company also invested in some projects that were happening on that side. But what was happening is there was a dummy payload that we loaded onto one of the pickups in Mombasa, then I drive the pickup to Nairobi. It's removed from that, put on the next pickup, and like that, keep going. It's 8 days. First big check I ever got. And then I was like, okay, this
Tell
thing...
us the number. You always hear my podcast. You hear people saying, there's a person who said, before you finish your story, there's somebody who was here yesterday, and they were doing a TV show.
Yeah.
And that was last year, and they were being paid 10,000.
Okay, 10,000 for what exactly? Okay. I mean, it's like what you're saying.
Per month.
Well, okay.
With a whole name, the background and everything.
Really, yeah. It comes back to what you were saying earlier. It's just knowing how to price yourself now, basically, at the end of the day.
I don't think they price themselves at 10.
There's that. And then also now somebody must have told them, the value of being online, people are seeing you'll be able to do stuff with it. So basically, use exposure. Yeah, so I don't know. Like there's value in that. Yeah. I'm never going to tell people completely ignore, especially when you're standing
on TV?
out. Not TV.
Yeah.
But even on TV, I mean, like you could be a guest on a show. Yeah. As in there are ways to do it, but like end of the day, man, as in if there's money going to be made from this thing,
it's not 10 G's per hour. You understand I'm saying 10,000 per month, right?
I understand you're saying 10,000 per month. I understand you're saying 10,000 per month Kenya shillings, not dollars.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, even me, I'm not getting paid spectacular amounts of money.
Yeah.
But then, for that first engagement, I got paid about 220,000. And I'm sitting and I'm thinking to myself, okay, this sounds like it could be something viable.
Yeah.
And didn't make anywhere near that kind of money for the next at least 2 years. Because of what I was talking about. Yeah, because but that was just something that opened my mind to the idea that, hey, maybe there's actually more to this space than just than just the fame, quote unquote, now of being online. So actually what happened is when I left the farm, I was leaving the farm now to start the association. So that was the main thing now that was happening. Then we are here today.
Okay, now let's go to the main thing that you currently are doing, and you're very vocal about it, or visuals are there online. Like if you search for Mwirigi,
the first thing that'll pop up.
See nice cars, bro.
Yeah.
We've seen nice cars. Different countries. How is that even possible, first of all? Because I have friends who are passionate about cars.
Yeah.
Some do street races, some do car events and everything, but they have never just had the kind of partnerships that Mwirigi out here is. I don't know how he's moving, bro. I don't know who you're talking to. I don't know how you're making these things possible.
Yeah.
But even for me at first, because I hadn't seen your car show actually, I just knew you're doing other stuff online.
Yeah.
And then I saw it. I was like, what?
Well, thank you. Thank you for watching.
I was like, okay.
I'm glad that you're happy.
Quality is amazing.
Yeah.
And just
work with a really fantastic team. I have
presentation
to say,
and just how you're moving around.
Yeah.
Everything is just not what we're used to from Kenya.
Yeah.
Let me just say that.
Yeah.
You've set the standards to international. If somebody's in a plane and they watched that show, hey, they'd be like, okay, we're not sure whether this is
Thanks. I mean, the way we looked at it, we had to do that because when we're doing car content, we are already immediately at a disadvantage because I mean we are not like Top Gear. We don't have the kind of access those guys have.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to take a while before you see me in some Lamborghini or some Porsche on a.
Not really.
Okay, yeah.
Not really.
You never
From
know.
how,
By the
no.
2020.
I mean, I've seen online. I don't think that's far fetched at all. From what you're doing, it's not far fetched. If you think about it.
Basically, what we realized is if we don't do it to that level of quality, because if you think about how guys are consuming content nowadays, even my own friends don't watch the show on Sunday at KTN. They'll watch it on YouTube because it's aired the next day.
Yeah.
Now, when you're watching my car show on YouTube, the next video is going to be an international guy. Or the video before that, before it pops up. So I don't want that drop in quality.
You have to at least if somebody's enjoying that quality, maintain it.
Yeah, it has to be maintained because like we don't think of ourselves as competing in the local space. We are thinking of ourselves as competing as a car show in general. And one of the things that we realized is after the death of Top Gear, there's been look up in my opinion that was one of the best things that could have happened to that space because like a lot of people have discovered other shows.
Oh yeah,
and there are quite a number of other shows and people
and I think
are doing
they influenced a lot of people as well.
Yeah, and they have influenced a lot of people. I would not be doing what I was doing if it wasn't for Top Gear. So I'm never going to say anything bad about those guys in that context. But like there's such a wide variety of guys doing such incredible, amazing things, and us guys were inspired by that as well. So we just thought, let's do this, and then if we're going to do this, doesn't matter what car we are being given. Just do the best possible thing that we can do, best possible quality. We have an amazing cameraman. We have incredible editors. Do really some really fantastic. As in for real, you can. I mean, it's like what you're saying. Like even people who watch the thing and don't like cars are like, that's a really nice shot. Like
I saw it, and
a lot of the like you'll see some of the comments. Someone is like, hey, by the way, where is that place at 21 minutes and 29? That looks really dope. And I get so happy because what I want to tell you about is the car, but as in if you're liking how it looks, if you're liking how it feels. Then I feel like I'm doing something.
You've got
good.
the attention anyway.
Yeah, I feel like I'm doing something good. Yeah. And then like it's so interesting because like we get the stats back from KTN and 60% of our viewers are women, which is not something you would have thought. Yeah. So like we've been thinking we are talking to petrol heads. We are talking to petrol heads, yes. But also the audience is a lot different than we were thinking.
Oh wait, what time does it air?
It airs 6:30 just before news on Sunday.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Is that like where people are branch or
I don't know. That's the thing. I was very interested in discovering. So
and
like,
I'm sure online the statistics are different because there now that has to be like where guys
like 90% guys.
Yeah, because now it's at my own leisure time. I'm free. I put a playlist of these videos and I watch.
Yeah. Okay. And then now, I mean, we have a really large catalog. I think we made a lot of noise this time because season 1 was on NTV, and then we moved now over to the Standard Group, and the Standard Group has given us really a lot of support. Like we had a launch.
You're not getting support from the other place?
We are getting more than we were getting from last time, the other place. That's it. So it's not that we weren't getting support. They just gave us a better offer. They just came. They pulled our Godfather. They gave us an offer we couldn't refuse. They just like, hey, okay, yeah. So like, because like our content spreads across all their platforms. So we have a half-page ad in the paper. They do our ads on radio.
Man, that's proper.
So like, I mean, you really can't.
All those resources, man, you can't just say no to.
Yeah. So it's in addition. I mean,
in addition to what they actually were offering you as well.
Yeah. So I think the only thing I'm sad about now is us guys start season 2, bigger, better, everything, and then all of a sudden you can't use drones. So you guys who work in the government who are talking about youth and empowerment, Tina, I have to go to South Africa if I want drone shots.
But you know, it just that drone thing. It's just
because you can imagine now a car show and drones.
No, that's you know, and our landscapes, bro.
You're telling me. You're telling me.
Now you can buy stock images.
You know, that's why I keep
stock
telling
footage
guys.
for Kenya.
Yeah, there is actually. In fact, we did a partnership with some with AA. Actually, happened to shoot a lot of footage before the ban happened. So we are talking to them very nicely. See if you can get some of that library stuff.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting because especially like what you're saying now with the landscapes, like we have so much available, even within the country. That's why sometimes when guys ask like, why are we traveling and we have all this stuff here? But to some extent, it's part of the access is different.
Yeah.
Our market primarily has dealers of motor vehicles as opposed to now the manufacturers themselves. So incentives are different because a dealer has sales targets. And then the manufacturer is thinking about marketing the brand and, you know, how do you feel about the brand and visibility and stuff. So like a lot of the time when you're dealing with a dealer on this side there, how is this going to influence a sale of a motor vehicle? As opposed to now when you go to SA or you go to Europe and you're dealing with the manufacturer themselves, they're more inclined to just let, you know, the output is more around how do people feel around the car, what do people feel about the brand, just perception as a whole. So it's not there's no pressure as such to do a hard sell. Yeah. So that's why there's a mix between the stuff that we're doing in Kenya and the stuff that we're doing outside the country.
So when you're just maybe like starting off like the show, were you 100% sure it was going to go off, or you found like some to, because you know, like what I know, like in Kenya, it's kind of like hard to bring these companies to like just that space where they're like, okay, we're giving you cars or we're cutting you a check, and yes, do what you want with our cars, and here's some money. Was it easy? Was it hard? Or?
It's extremely hard. I'm not going to say it's even. I mean, we're in season 2. It's still hard.
Here's the thing, because people see online, but they just see things happening and they assume like, okay, I also have an idea. Okay. I think all I need to do is just go to a company and nini. But just
I mean, like, let me
say like no.
Yeah. Okay. I just went for the Frankfurt International Motor Show. Yeah, that was I think in September.
That was in Germany.
In Germany, yeah.
Oh,
this was incredibly privileged to be at the launch of the Land Rover Defender, the new one. Now, man, that is the thing.
Can I just soak it in first of all? Just chill, Kwanzaa. Okay, just chill, relax, eh?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear what he said, man? Not everybody gets those opportunities. It's not easy at all.
It's not easy at all because, like, for us to do that, it took about 9 months. We talked to 5 different companies. All of them said no. Then we talked to them again, and all of them said no. Then we talked to them the third time. So this is 15 meetings. And then one of them said, okay, maybe. Then now we focused all our energy on the okay, maybe. And then turned it into a yes. And then that comes out and it's 10 minutes of footage. So, like, you know, sometimes
you can see the amount of effort and follow-up that has been done to create that like, 10 minutes.
Yeah. So, like, it's incredibly hard, the amount of work we need to put in. And that's why, like, sometimes, like, some of the feedback we're getting, I'm like, I hear what you're saying. I completely understand. But making it happen is a lot harder than it looks. So, like, a lot of what we're doing now, even what we are planning to do in 2020 is going to be really interesting, but a lot of that planning started like in September.
Yeah. It has to be in advance.
And I have to say, honestly, it's gotten to the point, I'm used to hearing no.
Yeah,
like
actually,
it's like,
when somebody says yes, that's why like, what
everyone is like, oh, you're having such a good time. I pull out the phone.
No,
we regret to inform. Okay. But you guys, you're really banging. Another, it pops up again. Sorry, we can't be able to do this.
Unfortunately, it's
even when you pick, because the thing is, a lot of guys think I have a newfound appreciation for what's happening on Top Gear, because you're seeing the 5 minutes after it has been edited. You're not seeing the guy from sales sitting in the background saying, hey, you guys are driving that car too fast. Hey, you guys are driving this thing too fast. I think there's a lot that happens.
Guys getting cars, who's going to take care of that?
There's a lot that happens in the background. Even just small things like getting the car out, even here in Kenya, over here now. By the time you go through that process of the gate pass, the nini, what it has to be what, the fuel, guys looking at the mileage, or nini, or what. Like the time that we had the VX. Because I think that, you know, like that was one of those weird things that I think that video went viral without me knowing. Because I think somebody must have downloaded it and shared it on WhatsApp. So I keep like I'll be in a bar, I'll be in a club, I'll be at a function, and somebody will walk up and be like, hey, you're that car guy, and they're not talking about the show. So I'm like, hey, okay. The VX, we had that car for 6 hours. 6 hours. You shoot footage, you know. 6 hours. We had that car for 6 hours. Every 2 or 3 minutes, the guys are calling because they're tracking it. So they're like, hey, why are you driving that fast? They're like, hey, we're overtaking a car. Okay, so why is the car stopped? Why are you okay?
Is everything.
Go to a point where you're like, hey, guys, now we are shooting. You are interrupting the shoot. You need to leave us alone. You need to leave us. Just give us at least half an hour.
Plus, we are limited
then
with time.
Say, hey, then even bringing the car, as in it was It was but I mean, it's 22 million shillings worth of an asset.
That's the thing. You also have to put that into consideration.
So, I mean, you just think about it, I mean, I completely understand. So you can't even start being nasty about it. You're just like, yes, I understand. I have your money.
Yeah.
And I need to bring it back. And
but we're trying to make sure we present it the best way
possible light. Yeah, and it was a great episode. And I mean, it from what I'm seeing so far, it also got a lot of traction on social, which is really. But now dark social, because it's very different when somebody's retweeting a video.
Yeah.
On your or somebody's reposting something on Instagram or retweeting a video on your Twitter, because you'll see all those interactions coming in. Now, when it's going to a point where we are all in some of these random WhatsApp groups, have hundreds of people. Somebody doesn't know I'm in the group, and then it's somebody shares that video in the group, and I'm like, hi, and then I'm seeing guys talking about the whole thing because I don't introduce myself as Mwirigi. So hey, I'm like, wow, okay. As in, it's nice sometimes to see those.
Authentically people just
that unfiltered reaction to your content, which is, I think, if I could. I think that's the thing that keeps me going, to be very honest. Like when I bump into somebody randomly and they're like, hey, dude, I love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I mean...
And even at times it seems
like
it's
all these no's.
Yeah.
All this rejection that you're facing on a regular basis, and then all these production deadlines. I mean, production deadlines. You're doing this. I mean, you're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things in content creation is doing it consistently.
Consistency.
Now, us guys have a deadline. I mean, we have to. The kitchen needs to have the file by Friday. So like, it's really crazy.
You just have to meet those.
Yeah. I mean, like now, like I was telling you earlier, now I need to go and do a reshoot. Yeah, after we do this interview.
Yeah.
So I need to go and change into the clothes I was wearing.
The same clothes yesterday.
and be very happy that the fact that the camera can't smell anything.
Just from, I think there's a small interaction. There's a time like we met and you're talking about.
Yeah.
What were you talking about? You're talking about like. Was it activations or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're telling us about how different it is like out there. Because you've traveled to a lot of these like car shows and stuff, right? Because it's opened so many other doors with just what you're doing.
Very true, yeah.
And you're talking about like some activation. I think you said that was like the best car activation thing that you experienced.
Yes.
You see, like even there, your face brightens up like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was the launch of the Evoque. Yeah. So what they did now, it was a media launch of the Evoque, the Range Rover Evoque they did in South Africa.
Yeah.
So we were only 10 people.
And you are among the 10 selected.
Hey,
listen, come on, bro.
No, I mean, it's journalists. It was a media thing. So like usually, the thing is
like that room, you're important.
No. Because
you're not?
Okay, when let me put it in the context that I was putting it in, even at that conversation. Yeah?
Okay.
Now, usually when there's a press event, when you're doing stuff in Kenya, generally, media is like the last thing that people think about.
Yeah.
So it's like you're doing whatever else that you happen to be doing, and then hapo katikati somewhere is when you're like, by the way, we need the media to come. And guys are called and they're told, hey, come tomorrow. This one now we are told, okay, we happened to already be in South Africa. Then they're like, hey, by the way, we are doing this launch next week. So you look at the visas, Nini, call the embassy, you're like, oh yeah, we can hang out for a week. So they're like, okay. Instead of the flight tickets, just pay for accommodations. They're like, so. So we're 10 people. So I think it's us 3 guys from Kenya. It was sub-Saharan. There were some guys from, I think, Mali, some French-speaking guys, some guys from Mauritius, and then us guys. So we get, how can I even describe this thing? So they shut down, there's Jaguar Land Rover Experience Center in Lone Hill in Johannesburg. They shut it down. Sorted, as in they did an obstacle course, did some incredible, amazing stuff. The launch happened at night. And then they did a night game drive. Now, this is the reason why it blew my mind. Like, as a car journalist, we've done these things. We don't take a car off-road, we've done these things millions of times. So they're like, okay,
Kenya, like
how can we make it interesting? So it was at night, and we were told you have to leave our lights off because the marshals who are taking us through the course would be blinded. So you could only put the daytime running lights on. So you're basically driving an off-road course at night in pitch darkness. You're just looking for a guy with a torch now to show you where. And then now what you're doing now is you're using the features that the
navigation systems,
the actual off-road features that the thing has now to navigate, because you can't really see that well. And that was really dope. So you finish that course. Then they're like, no, stay in the car, drive the car to the hotel. I'm like, hey,
pitch darkness as well?
No. That's fine
that's
now.
it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we drove the car to the hotel. Then park the car in the basement, go to the roof. They've set up a dinner, and it's themed. So it started now with seaside, and then it moved to camping, and then it went to adventure. So the first course, we were given those little iPods, then like for Ronaldo, those wearing juice, the shuffles.
Yeah.
And then now, you put it on, and then you can hear the ocean as we're eating
as
fish.
you're eating the food.
As we're eating fish. And we're like, hiya, okay. Then we finish with that, then, okay, go to bed. In the morning, same cars are downstairs. Routes have already been plugged into the GPS. Now we drove to where we're having lunch. Small off-road thingy. Then you switch, because if you're in the petrol, you move to the diesel. If you're in the diesel, you move to the petrol. Then drive back to the hotel. So just 2 days. But the attention to detail. And us guys are media guys. As in, you're not, and when I say media, I don't mean media as in celebrity media. It was us guys now because we have a TV show. The guys in Mali now are newspaper guys. The guys from Mauritius were guys who are for a magazine. As in the media guys, the guys that every time you go for an event, those 2 guys with the cameras. So I was thinking to myself, if they're doing that for media,
can you imagine?
Now what are they doing for the celebrities?
Yes, like the influencers from that country, people who
as in then you come back this side, then the first thing you're going somewhere and your name is not on the list. You're just like, no,
you get to an event and they're like, no, you're not.
Yeah, you're not. You have to start making phone calls and somebody's like, Paul. Then you figure there, then you're being told, oh, sorry, you guys are not. You don't have vouchers for lunch. Can you sort yourself out for lunch? You're just like,
And it happens. You see, these are the 2 small things that people don't understand.
No, but on Instagram, the thing is, but on Instagram, you guys will see that event and think, oh my God, I can't believe this is so cool. You guys are living such a dope life. This time it took you 2 hours to check in. You guys are still when you're on that Instagram, when you've taken that selfie, you're waiting for your vouchers to be sorted out so that you can eat lunch. But none is over there doing hardship.
I know, but that's why, like, even for the podcast, people just need to realize, like, as much as you see this happening, like, online, just understand those 2 little things that people have to go through. You're talking about sending proposals, making calls, doing A, B, C, and D. But what have you noticed, like, about the different places that you've gone? It's always, I've seen, is it motor shows, or what specifically do you target when you're going outside the country to shoot? Is it easier by targeting just a show because you'll get an array of vehicles and partners and you can talk to a lot of people, or you just focus on like one brand name? And
there's nothing that's easy. Like basically, there's none of those options is an easier option. None of them. Because as in even before you do any of that, you have to get a visa.
Yeah.
So that's
have they made the SA visa easy?
SA now is a bit easier.
It is.
It's relatively easier. Okay. Yeah. And now, Frankfurt.
It's tricky.
Well, see, now you're getting now a visa for going to Germany. Now you're getting a Schengen.
Oh, yeah. Because after that you can hop around,
So
right?
the thing is, like, as in there are so many moving parts when you do one of those trips. You know how much. Then again, the choice of how much equipment you can carry. You know, they're
Are you
so
limited?
No, you're not. I mean,
by extra luggage, you don't want to lose anything.
I mean, like it's like what you're saying now. Like, there's a setup you can do when you're in Nairobi, knowing that you have everything in control.
Because I'm done.
Then there's a setup. I mean, there's a setup now when you're at a motor show. I mean, there's so many things happening. You can't just have stuff hanging around. There are millions. I mean, there are literally millions of people.
Yeah.
Like when I went for Paris, had 1.9 million people. Frankfurt has around 1.1.
What?
Yeah, but over the course of the 2 weeks that it's running, so they're not all in one place at one time.
Bro,
But like they're really, really massive. So even now when you're shooting, you need to think about what
things
are you
that
carrying.
won't wear you out. You can't make things easier for yourself.
Yeah, you're not going to be over there with a full SG reflector. I mean, there's literally no space for that. Yeah, at your whole light setup, I don't know what. I think you're not going to be able to do that. It's not possible.
Yeah, true.
So like that. The thing is, and it comes back to something we were mentioning even before we started shooting. Like, there's what you from outside are thinking is a priority or is something that people should look at, and then now from inside, because it's like what I was saying. Actually, the choice of the show is as in whether you're going for a motor show or you're going for a launch. That's the easiest part of that situation. That's not even
how to
the
execute.
simplest.
How to execute.
That's not even that. That's the easiest thing. It's okay. Who's going to pay for the flights?
Yeah.
How are you going to get this visa?
Who pays for those things first of all before we proceed with the
usually it's the brand. So because you're dealing with the brand in multiple countries, now that also now becomes a challenge. So like you see now that's what I was saying. Like, it's not something that you just wake up in the morning and
you
do.
Can't.
Like it's I can't decide like Geneva Motor Show is happening in March. We've been trying to chase it since September. Motor Show is nice because motor show, like you're saying, there are multiple cars.
Yeah.
But even if there are not multiple cars, there are still ways that we can. I mean, like all this time I've spent in Germany, I've realized there's a German driving culture. There's still things we can do, even though it's not a motor show. Because we will have access to a motor vehicle. We still have access to even just understanding how transport is working. That kind of stuff is still of value to the show. Because even understanding, like, yes, it's a car show, but if you're talking about optimal public transport methods, that still works.
Yeah.
So even now, the fact that we're in a train, although it's a car show, is still something we can put on the show.
Yeah.
We can still talk about electric
transport.
vehicles. We can because now those are things. A lot of things we talk about in theory now are there on the ground.
How does that?
So,
feel,
for instance,
bro?
now we're talking about electric cars.
Before we even proceed, how's that feeling, bro?
That feeling of
just being able to drive all these cars and
that's the thing. Like, because it's Jobo, I think it will hit me later.
After you sit back and you're like,
because like as we are speaking now, me, I'm thinking about, are we going to make our deadline for transmission on Friday? So like I'm thinking about the work.
Yeah.
Then maybe now I think when we wrap the season is when I'll sit down and be like, oh, by the way, UK, we actually went to SA. But when you see the thing is when I'm in SA, I'm thinking
everything's just happening.
This is the short list for today. We need to make sure we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, did we get this? Okay, we need to reshoot this. Okay, we listen to the audio. The audio is messed. We need to reshoot. So like yes, I'm in Germany, but it's Jobo.
Yeah.
It's a work. That's the thing. It's a work trip. It's like any other work trip that guys do. It's like the way, like for a lot of people, you go on a work trip to Mombasa, you don't even see the beach. So that's the equivalent of what I'm doing. Yes, I'm driving really spectacular, amazing, incredible cars, but it's work.
It's work.
And
it's
like
work.
because you're in photography, we are chasing sunlight.
Oh yeah.
And then
that natural light.
Yeah, you're chasing natural light. And then now, like when, for instance, like when you're in Europe,
Oh, the days
are longer.
Are they longer?
Yeah, in summer.
Oh,
so
you're
shooting for a lot longer. So by the time you're done, as in,
you just want to rest.
Oh, let's go out for a night on the town. No, I've been shooting for 16 hours straight. There's no way.
Yeah.
Just want to sleep. And when you get back to Nairobi, even like there's one extra day left, and you're just thinking, okay, let's go check out the town. Then you meet at breakfast, and guys are like, by the way. Let's just be very honest.
Yeah.
Do we have to check out right now? So I don't know. Like it's work. So I think I need to do a better job of appreciating some of these things because like the thing is like when everybody's telling me you're having such a good time, I'm like yes.
The production, anybody who does production, they will understand. Like, okay, it seems like fun, but trust me, behind the scenes,
it gets crazy.
There's so much more that has to be done.
Because the worst thing about it even is like when I'm watching stuff, I also just can't appreciate it like that because I'm thinking, how did that guy get that shot? You're just like, where the hell was that camera? It's like, what did he do with that lighting? Okay, I really like this shot. So I'm calling Mike now, a cameraman. I'm like, by the way. I'll share that clip and I'm like, is it possible for us guys? Yeah, Mikey is a very cool guy.
Really good.
It's very cool. And it's the same guy I'm using when I'm doing the stuff for White Cup.
Yeah.
Because he's just the best.
Really,
in fact,
really
if I was to give a shout out, Mike Joroge. In fact, if you can work also his
I'll put his handle.
Because he does a really good job. He's spectacular. And that's the thing. Like we've been very lucky to be able to work with guys who are also passionate about what they're doing and who as in like Mike, I mean, you've met Mike, even just Mike's energy.
Yeah,
it's
just
proper.
A cool guy
around.
It's proper.
It's not so even like now.
You can see the passion, like even when he's working.
So the thing is, like on a long shoot, we've been shooting for 10 hours. It's nice to have a guy, a guy that you can relate to.
Yeah.
So I think like that's what guys are seeing coming out now with the end product. I mean, the team we work together. We really genuinely like each other. We're actually friends, and hopefully that chemistry shows now on the screen. Yeah.
So what's one place or one brand that you definitely would want to, apart from Lamborghini? What's that one brand that you'd really, really think you're trying to do something with them, like even this year?
Me personally.
Yeah. Even just experience,
Tesla. Tesla. There's no beating around the bush. Tesla.
Yeah.
Which is going to piss a lot of petrol heads off because guys don't like it a lot. But as in, I've seen the potential for electric cars. I think we have potential for electric cars in this country. Not in the way that it's rolling out in those places. Because, I mean, not Tesla Model S, those expensive motors, but I've seen the cost benefit. Yeah, because it's really ridiculous. Like you don't have to service the car. When you're in South Africa, we are the Jaguar I-Pace. It has a 60,000 kilometer service interval. 60,000 kilometers before you service it. And that service, by the way, is plugging in a laptop, and the laptop is asking the car if it's okay. That's basically what you're doing. You're doing EBD2 diagnostic, then you maybe have a look at the battery capacity, because the laptop will tell you, and then now looking at the motors, are everything okay? Fine. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no service you're doing. The fuel that you're putting, because like we had the opportunity to interview the head of the clean mobility unit at UNEP here in Nairobi. He drives a Nissan Leaf. Here in Nairobi, I'm not talking about that in some other country.
Nairobi,
the guy was
Nairobi.
he spends 600 bob on electricity to run his car for a week.
Yeah.
You can't argue with that. As in, like, you really can't argue with that. You can't argue the maths. Because the thing that guys don't realize is when you think about electric cars, you're thinking about it in the paradigm of your phone. You know, like it has to be at 100% all the time. What you need to understand,
working with a power bank.
Yeah, and what I've seen now, because of all these trips that we've been doing, is that it's more analogous to having a full tank of fuel. When you have a full tank, you don't start freaking out because you've reached 25, as in quarter tank. Then and everybody in Kenya is used to driving with the light on, saying,
I know my car.
So it's the same thing with an electric car. And then the other thing now is that the regenerative braking, because that's what the guy now from UNEP said here. It's actually better if you get stuck in traffic, because when the car is braking, it charges the battery.
Oh.
And we saw the exact same thing now in South Africa. We'd gone for a hill climb, so it's just a race. And in between the race now, we were being taken up in the I-Pace. And that's a sports car proper, so it's really fast. It was very exciting. And then what's happening is we drive up the hill really quickly. Then when we are coming down, like we'll go up the hill, the car was on 68%. We come down, it's at 72. So it's charging itself.
And you see,
so like what happens with an electric car, like it's not very efficient if you're doing a long distance trip, like if you're just cruising the entire time, because it's just consuming the battery. But if you're in town, so like now, like if you think about that from our perspective in Kenya now,
with all this traffic all the time,
you'll be fine, you'll be okay, and then you never have to service the car.
Recharging, no service.
But you only charge once a week.
Oh yeah, once a week.
That's it. So you don't need charging points everywhere, because like what I realized, like when you're in Germany, the charging points. Part of the reason people are buying the cars is not because that OSG economy, it's because the charging points are usually near the entrance of a mall, and you can only park there if you have an electric car. So like what happens is, like in Germany, like in those large cities, guys are buying electric cars because of the parking. It's free parking.
If you pay
for charging, and then the thing is, you see, no other car can park there. So you know, like to put in a Kenyan context, it's like you can drive to Tao and know there'll be a parking in Mama Ngina.
No Kanjo is going to say that,
No, there is going to be the space.
Space is there. It's there.
Because the space is reserved for electric cars, because they have charging points. So guys realized, okay, yeah. So I mean, if like here we're in a mall now, the charging points would be close to the entrance. So imagine getting a parking now just here near the entrance.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, and it's always open. Like every time you leave the house, there's going to be a parking at the entrance of Galleria for you, because you have
efficiency,
electric car.
man. Just
so
efficiency.
like it's not even efficiency like that. Like that one now was just more along the lines of, you're just being able to do it basically. So. I see there's great potential for that, but most likely what's going to happen in Kenya is going to come from commercial vehicles, because of that price sensitivity. Because basically, if you have an electric, what I'd say now for last mile, so goods are being brought in a ship, they're being carried in a trailer all the way from Mombasa to Nairobi. Then now in Nairobi, when they're being taken out to the actual shops, that last mile, now usually it's in a canter, in a pickup. So those are the things that I'm seeing might be electric first, before now we are talking about passenger vehicles. Passenger vehicle side should be PSVs, because I've already started seeing...
It has to be, like even those two buses that you need.
There's buses, and I think we actually have something we are doing on the show with that. Trevor shot some stuff in Portugal. But I think you may have noticed, even like with Ubers, a lot of guys are starting to get hybrids, just because of the fuel savings. So then there's of course like Nopia right now. And then UNEP, I understand right now in Kenya, is working on a pilot with KPLC for electric bikes, which now could also potentially be very interesting. Because if you think about like how border borders are operating, there's a border shed, you could put solar panels on the top, and when guys are waiting for guys, it's charging the bike.
It's just charging.
Yeah. So basically, with a model like that, you'll be buying the bike and then you never have to pay for fuel.
especially with our weather. First of all, you're good.
Yeah, no, we're actually very good by then. No, in general, the other side of this conversation usually is about how clean the power is, and even though it's an electric car, the impact on the environment is also dependent on how you're getting the energy. So, like for a lot of the developed countries, they're getting the energy out of coal, very dirty sources. Now in Kenya, 70% of our power production is renewable. So we are clean across the board. When you're talking about solar, again, most of the time the sun is out.
Yeah.
So we are actually we are on the equator. We are at an advantage.
We're at a high advantage of using all the resources that are readily available. We don't have to ship anything.
Yeah.
I'm sure
so like think about it now. In the future, somebody selling you a car and solar panels to put on your house that charges the car, so you never have to pay for fuel. So you see now, once I say never have to pay for fuel, then Kenya. No, they forget.
It's done. It's a wrap. You forget even to charge Kwanzaa.
Forget now stories of us the environment's doing it's a simple cost thing. And nowadays the cars are becoming there are various types. So you don't have to get the same car everybody else is getting. You can get a car that fits your use case. You don't necessarily have to get the Tesla. You can get a Nissan Leaf. There's quite a range. It's no longer a niche thing anymore.
But just doing the car show,
Yeah.
What have you noticed, or what's the trend? Because I know, like your experience. First of all, your experience is completely different. Would you relate to the normal cars? First of all,
yeah, of course I would.
You would.
Why not? I mean, you drive normal cars every day on the show.
Okay.
We don't.
So what's the trend right now with cars? Where we are heading?
Well, first of all, people are putting off their purchase decision. So a lot of younger people are not buying their first small car because of Akina Uber. So you're finding a lot of the time in the Kenyan market, somebody's first car is a little more expensive than it used to be back in the day. So I'd say like 10 years ago, people would be very quickly getting a Vitz or a second-hand something. But now you're seeing people are holding off that purchase decision a bit. They're using Uber, etc., and then you see somebody's first car is a Polo. I mean, sorry, it's a Golf, or it's a German car. It's so people are spending a little more on cars in the interim. This is something that's happening across the board. It's not just us. So people are talking about now how millennials are killing. So yeah, millennials are also killing car ownership, basically. But it's because now the availability of ride-hailing services. So whereas before, the only way you could avoid taking a matatu was buying your own car, now you can use Uber.
Yeah.
So that what's happening now is, again, you're cutting out the whole stress of having to go to a mechanic, of having to
parking,
insurance, parking, and the like. So it makes perfect sense to just look. You are using the car to get from point A to B. Now you can just use a car for that specific point.
Specific time when you need it, and then after that you don't
basically,
care.
You can
somebody else's responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. You can use the milk. You don't need to buy the cow.
Oh, true.
Effectively.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So that's one of the general trends that's happening from the purchasing side. Hopefully within the Kenyan market, I'm one of the people, and I get a lot of flack around this. I'm a proponent for the whole idea of assembling cars in the country. How the Gava is managing this, I don't agree with. I think it could be done a lot better.
What's that? What are we talking about?
No, I don't know. Do you have enough time?
No, we still have time. We still have time.
We have enough time to have this discussion.
But like, you can touch on it. You can touch on it.
But what we are doing right now is we are subsidizing somebody else's new car market. Yeah, because what generally tends to happen is the one thing that's missing from this conversation in general is we are assuming that there are never going to be used cars in the market.
Yeah.
Because when you're saying everybody needs to buy a new car, we can't import. But what tends to happen, and what you see happening in other places like South Africa, is yes, everybody's buying a showroom car, but they're going to trade it in to get a new one. So there's going to still be a stock of used cars. Yeah. But now you'd rather a stock of used cars that are 3 or 4 years old, locally used, than 8 years old coming from somewhere else. And right now, the reason why I'm saying I don't agree with what they're doing is the tax is really ridiculous.
Our
tax is really ridiculous. So it means the price of a new car is really, it's prohibitive at the moment.
Not even cars. Have you seen how many companies have shut down just last year, man?
No, it's been. In fact, I was nearly shutting down myself in 2017. Let me not even lie. They had a really rough time.
Yeah.
In fact, I think part of the reason why it's interesting that everybody is talking about the car show and everything. But hey, my guy, it come from a very bad place. Things were really thick.
Yeah.
So I mean, even right now, I'm still basically in recovery, which is why, like, when I'm saying everybody's saying, "Oh, you're having such a great time," I'm like, "Yes, but madeni."
Once you start talking numbers, it's just a whole different thing.
I'm still chasing. Hey, there's a lot that's happening. But yeah,
just because we're still talking about cars, we'll go back to other just small details on the show. If somebody, because of course the podcast, a lot of different people listen to the podcast. If somebody is in Kenya right now, of course we don't have the electric cars. We can't say as per now it's something that you'd advise somebody to buy as their first car. With our situation, economy, roads, because you do car tests all the time, right? If somebody wants to get their first car, what are like the top 3 choices that you would recommend? No. And this is both for men and women. Yeah,
which is why I'm not going to give I'm not going to give a model specifically. What I'd say is you need to think about what you need to think about.
Let me tell you, Kwanza, why?
Yeah.
Your friend or your sis.
Yeah.
Okay, not sis. Somebody like just a friend. And they're like, yo, because nowadays...
Why not my sis?
No, cause...
Do you know my sis?
No, listen. It's just because you have those friends, like somebody's getting like... They've just gotten like a decent job.
Yeah.
Because you know how jobs are right now. They're not stable. Someone's like, I really don't want to make a wrong purchase decision.
Yeah.
But I do want a car because it's easy. It's going to make my things moving around easier, my work easier. Or even if I'm an entrepreneur.
You're preaching to the choir. I mean, you do need a car. Let me not lie. It's no longer just a status symbol. You actually do need the utility.
Yeah.
So that's perfectly okay. What I'm saying is why I share away from just specifically dropping one specific car.
Okay, that's why I've said 3.
Yeah, is because first of all, it's important to note that a car is usually somebody's second largest purchase after the house.
True.
So it's a really emotional investment. More so what happens is a lot of the time people are talking about it from a very practical perspective, which is like what you're saying now, what you're going to do with the utility. But it's also important for people, and that's the thing they never ask when they are making these recommendations, is they never ask, that car has to say something about you. Those are always the things that are left. Because every time I give a recommendation, then someone is like, no, but then I really wanted a German car.
How many people do you know who make wrong decisions when buying a car?
Now, let me come back to what I was saying. what recommendations I usually give is that if it's your first car and you're a first-time driver, because you could already have been driving before, then you need to think about the fact that you're probably going to have 1 or 2 small accidents. So you need to think about now accident repair. You're going to sell it because it's your first car. So you need to think about resale. So I think then of course now you need to think about total cost of ownership. What I mean by this is how much is it going to cost to insure, how much does it cost to service. So once you've gotten those 3 things, so you're thinking about now total cost of ownership, cost of repairs, which is a completely different thing altogether, and then resale value, because it's your first car, you're going to trade it in and buy another one. It's your first car. Like I wouldn't say the same for somebody now is thinking about their 3rd or 4th car.
That's why, because there it will get complicated. So we're talking about first time.
So once you've thought about those 3 things, then now you can look at now the models that you're looking at, and then now make a decision from there. Because the other thing that people never talk about.
From this podcast, they haven't gotten like any rough idea of what they can purchase. Mwirigi, come on.
Because like what generally tends to happen is I'll tell somebody, oh, you should get a Demio. Then end of the day it's like, oh, but I'm going to look like an overdriver.
No. But
that
here's
has
the
nothing
thing.
to do. That's what I'm saying. That has nothing to do with the utility.
There's a reason you've dropped that, and that's why I'm just saying, because there are people specifically.
Okay.
We have young women who are getting like money. Now everybody's like making their money. Young guys who are like doing things independently, small businesses and stuff.
Or even guys who are just working in 9 to 5 and you've gotten a raise. I mean,
I listen. Okay, even those ones as well. Even them. But just that first purchase, because that's very tricky, and a lot of people do make mistakes. Because like I'm always like caught in between those conversations with people. Like, hey, by the way, we advised Nani to buy this Moti. He bought this one. We advised Nani to buy this. Somebody buys another, and they always come back now. And those 2 problems that you've mentioned, like, where can I fix this?
But it's what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that it's the same situation like what we were discussing earlier now with cameras and equipment. it's your use case is not the same as everybody else's. So the reason it's not working
you
for
have
you,
to give me 3 cars, Mwirigi. You have to give me 3 cars. Give me 3 cars.
okay, fine.
Give me 3 cars.
If you're putting me in a punch like that, I'd have to say the Honda Fit.
Yeah.
Honda Fit, I'd say, is because it's a lot bigger than it looks, so you can carry a lot of stuff. For instance, the fuel tank on the Honda Fit is actually under the passenger seat, so there's a lot of space, a lot more space than you can imagine in the boot. Number 2, I'd say the showroom Volkswagen Polo Vivo. Because it's at a reasonable price. It's at 1.6 M. It's a showroom car. You'll be the first person.
0 mileage.
Here's the thing. End of the day, all things considered, and this is something I keep telling people.
Yes.
When you make it in life, don't you want to be able to walk into DT Dobby and buy a German car?
You do. You do.
So Polo Vivo allows you to do that. You can walk into DT Dobby
and
tell
actually
them,
make.
I want that one in blue, and you rarua the papers yourself.
Yeah, the keys.
And you're given the keys.
Yeah.
And you drive out of the showroom and you have a German car that you bought yourself at DT Dobby for 1.6 million shillings. Yeah. 36,000 a month if you're financing.
Yeah.
So I think that's also a reasonable thing, because now, again, that buying that car completely removes your stress of, where do I look for parts, who is the mechanic, because just take it to the dealer. Every 7,500 km, take it to the dealer. They have a service plan. You can pay an additional 100k, and they service it for you for 3 years.
For the duration that you're...
No,
maybe
3 years.
Oh, okay.
Parts and labor.
Oh, and wait, for 100?
100 Gs on top. They service it for 3 years, parts and labor.
100 flat for that maintenance.
Yeah, so you never think about it again. So once you've paid,
reasonable.
Then you just need to fuel your car and pay for insurance. That's it. You have no stress. Chances of the car breaking down are slim, next to none. If there is a problem, it's under warranty, so it's the dealer's problem to fix.
You can still...
Yeah. So I think now, in terms of, if you're looking for peace of mind, I'd say that one. And what's the third car now? I think
because people do want to hear these names. That's why at times I do ask numbers, and because not everybody has that expertise. You see, somebody has grown up from a neighborhood or maybe a household that didn't have a car.
Very true.
They're like, I really don't want to make a mistake. And once you make, you've saved up that enough money and you're like, this is a lot of money. I do not want to make a mistake. Just advise me on something I can start with and then roll with it. Okay, so the third car, Mwirigi, that he would advise would be...
Third car. Wow, okay.
These are people who are starting off. The experts, they would understand. They would start throwing this engine is this when I'm overtaking, when I'm doing this, navigation. Yeah.
Because, I think that the last 2 cars I've said are hatchbacks. So, what could I say now? Maybe now for someone who's doing stuff that they need to do a lot of trips on the road.
Yeah.
They need to go off-road occasionally, or they need a little more space. Maybe... This is such a hard question because there's so many cars. It's very hard. It's very hard. Because I don't like giving general advice because everybody has their own unique challenges.
You know why? Because somebody somebody has never asked you that question.
People ask me this question. Yeah, people
all
ask
the
me
time.
this. Yeah, but then I ask follow-up questions so that I can get a better understanding of what they need.
Unfortunately, we don't know our audience,
I can't do that.
so now
That's
you
what
have
I'm
to
saying,
generalize.
yes. So I can't ask follow-up questions. So ask me follow-up questions. Holler at me on Twitter at Mwirigi,
please do.
And I'll be very, very glad to help you with any of those questions, by the way. But I need those follow-up questions because there are things that people don't talk about. And this is what I'm saying now, based on that experience of people asking me, is that they'll start with utility. Yeah. Then when I give a recommendation, it becomes, actually, I wanted something that looks a little better. I wanted something that does this. I wanted something that that's why I really, as much as possible, shy away, which is understandable because of the amount of money you're spending on the car.
Yeah.
It has to be able to say something, as in it's not...
Okay, if I'm spending this much, I want it to...
Yeah, it's not unusual. I would never tell people not to think about it. I mean, you're spending the most that you would spend outside of buying a house.
True.
So, barring maybe or a medical emergency, if you're going to spend that much money, then the car you have to feel a certain way about it. It's very natural.
So are you going to give us the third car or no?
To get
I see what you're doing here.
To get details on the third car, follow me on Twitter at Mwirigi, and I will give you a third car if you want.
Okay, please, that would make sense anyway. But at least you've given them 2
options.
And then just for the third, just ask him online, because it's always, it even puts you at ease when you know your friend deals with. If your friend is a doctor, or dentist, or whatever, wouldn't you like to know their opinion on something if that's something that's actually you're going through.
Very true, very true.
Exactly.
But even now, if your friend is a doctor, they're going to ask you, yes, can I see your charts? Can I see your charts before,
Go to the lab.
I mean, there's no doctor who will come on this show and tell you, if you have a headache, take this specific drug. No.
Not true.
Like you want a little more information. So even now, for recommendation of a car purchase, you actually need to provide a little more information.
Provide those more
and
details.
Don't be ashamed to say things like you need a certain color or you need to look a certain way or, as in it's actually part of the decision, something that you need to think about.
It's a family,
because a lot of what happens is that remains unspoken. And then, so you're giving, and that's why now you have that disconnect because somebody didn't voice what they actually needed. They're just talking about, because usually when you're talking about cars, you're just talking about the utility. Then later on, when you're using the car, you realize, this thing that you never spoke about, but you were actually thinking about somewhere in the back of your head, this car is not offering that. That's where that mismatch comes from. So I keep telling guys, if you want a recommendation of a car, please be as open as humanly possible, because the options are so many. Like you might, just that switch between one car and another car might make you happiest, because like with any other thing, it's really the tiny things that are happening over a long period of time that matter.
True.
You can get away with, maybe you wanted red and you get blue. That you can work with. But if it turns out it doesn't have a USB for you to charge your phone, that's going to piss you off for the rest of your life. Something that you never...
Maybe a power bank too. You just have a power bank and the whole car.
Something so small that you never thought about. It could be something like that.
That's
true. So it'll piss you off for a very long period of time. And that's something that if you had just said, it sounds like it's a small thing. But the small things compounded over time become a real problem.
I remember there's a friend of mine who, like, when he was buying, I think, his second car, we were used to him, like, he was just driving us everywhere.
Yeah.
He was, like, close to our Uber. Mm-hmm. So what we said, because we didn't have, like, any car expertise, right?
Yeah.
So the only recommendation for us was, like, listen, when you're getting this car, just make sure the back seats have, like, cup holders.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
That's all we need. And this bastard didn't get any cup holders in the car that he bought.
Well,
we're just spilling drinks in the back seat of his car.
You see, so like that's what I mean.
I'm just saying, like you see,
small things.
Those two small things were just like, for that situation, that's what we were trying to tell him. Like, please, this would just make us. And it's like those, like you say, those tiny things.
Yeah. So the thing is now, when we're giving those general recommendations, you leave those small things out, and then somebody is going to sit in that car for 3 years. And
even the cup holders might be like your kids. Maybe you're dropping them off to school. You want them to have like to ninis and stuff.
You want to be able to put stuff around the car, like it's more, or even just like I saw this with another friend of mine. Yeah. He's so used to having an armrest.
Oh yes.
In the middle.
Yeah.
So somebody just put his hand, just that small tiny thing, and he's saying, "Maze," as in, and you know what happens is like you ask him, he's like, "I really don't like this car." Then you're like, "Okay, what's wrong with it?" See, the service is fine. It's after an hour is when he's saying, I was so used to putting my hand down here like this, and I can't do that anymore. And I'm like, okay, there's something you can do about it.
Yeah.
But like, don't be ashamed to ask for some of those small, seemingly
details.
Those small things that might not sound like they're too important. You need to think about the fact that you're going to sit in that car for the next 3 to 4 years. Every day. So if something small, it's like compound interest. Just say, or even something that you want, it's something that you've been thinking you need. And a lot of the time, that's why it's easier to give somebody a recommendation for their second car, because they know what they want, they know what they don't like. They're very sure. They're like, hey, the last car I didn't have this, I want this.
True.
Just like I was saying with anything else that you're doing with equipment. It's best to buy it based from a point of view of
what you need,
what you lacked.
Oh yeah.
So you realized you are using this equipment, and then you're like, hey, I really liked this, but it didn't do X. So because and the best example for this is like for the guys who are doing the off-road community. Now the guys who are doing proper 100%, like driving all the way to Turkana for like 4 years and whatever. When they're kitting out their cars for the first time, one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given, as given by a pal of mine called Masharia, is you buy your car, take it as it is stock, then go and drive to Mandera. Then let the problems you have determine what you're going to buy. So you don't just wake up in the morning and decide, okay, I want to lift it, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to add this.
Go fast, and then you'll realize, okay.
Then now when you're there, then realize, oh, by the way, I think I need extra fuel capacity. Or like, oh, by the way, I think I need this. Oh, I think I need this. And that's why I keep telling guys, like, actually do a test drive. Even if you're talking to a dealer like this, sit in the car, see how you feel inside the car.
Yeah.
Just figure out, like, oh, okay, can I put, because there are things that guys don't realize, oh, I can't actually put my phone down here. Yeah, it doesn't have a space. It doesn't have a space over here. Like,
those
okay,
you small things.
You didn't know. Then you realize now, oh, you bought the car and then you have to keep putting your phone in the. So like funny tiny things.
For me, if I can't put a GoPro like somewhere there so that I have like a proper peripheral view of everything.
Yeah. So like just do that so that you can figure out the small tiny things, because those things compound over time and they will piss you off every single day.
Or they make you sell the car like a throwaway price just because you don't have like an armrest. Okay, now, because we've talked a lot about cars, and like I said, we can always do like a part 2, right?
No problem, I'm down for that.
So I'll just hope on that, just like maybe as we summarize, cars come with cars and
Cars and what? Fuel, petrol, insurance.
Cars and women.
Cars and women.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well.
Look at Mwirigi.
Well.
Look at Mwirigi. So balancing everything that you do as a content creator and entrepreneur and everything.
Yeah.
Are you in a situation currently?
Am I in a situation currently?
Yeah. I don't want to say because, like, for me, I was trying to look for online like substance to do with. Because there are some people, like, you can just Google a relationship. For you, I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to say what I found online.
And he's not saying
because I was like, okay, now this doesn't make any sense. Because, like, that's the only thing that was online.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What?
I just said you have a huge crush on Sharon Mundia.
On Sharon Mundia?
Yeah.
Oh, that whole Pole Kwamirigi thing.
No, that's what I found. I didn't even know about it. That I just found because I was like, listen, my podcast is about health, wealth, love, and happiness.
Yes.
So I'm Googling, I'm just saying you do like the car show and everything.
And then
but I can't pinpoint.
I was trending for 2 weeks. That was a very separate situation.
Yeah.
That was 2015. So that's almost like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
What happened there is
so you guys are in a stable relationship right now?
No. Let me tell you exactly what happened in that setup. Let's look at like a mutual friend of ours, like maybe Sonny. Yeah. So say for instance, I introduced you to Sonny.
Yeah.
You would refer to Sonny as that Sonny of Bobby's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Mwirigi, people call
yeah.
That's Sonny of Mwirigi's.
Yeah.
Because in that setup of you met
You're
Sonny.
You're trying to remember with the context of the
you met Sonny through me, so you would refer to Sonny as that Sonny Mwirigi's part. So when so I used to share a lot of S's content. When she got engaged, one of my pals was like, hey, that S of Bobby's, that S of Mwirigi's has gotten engaged. Then people looked at that as, the chick that I was hollering at. So it just lipukaed like that. Then the thing is, like, she
broke your heart.
Yeah. Then the thing is,
those are the headlines I was seeing.
Yeah. Then the first few people who were talking about it happened to be big wigs on Twitter, so it got traction. So they were just making fun of me. But then, like, if you don't know that context, you're just looking at a very universal situation where a man has gotten his heart broken. So I don't think that people were talking about me specifically as Mwirigi.
Yeah.
They were relating with the situation. So that's why I think it got the amount of traction it did. And then also now brands jumped in, and then it took a life of its own. I was trending for 2 weeks. On the day itself, there were one tweet every 2 seconds on that hashtag. It was crazy. Like, I had to switch off my phone. It wasn't making any sense. So in terms of love, I wouldn't say that is part of.
But she's very pretty, right?
Yes, she is very attractive, yes.
Well, ask her out.
Well.
Look at Mwirigi. You're not ready for this, huh?
I was not ready for this. Yes.
I've asked you everything, and everything you're just giving me punchlines.
Just punchlines? Maybe I have media training and I'm not telling you.
Hey, listen, maybe you do, but for this one, I can tell.
But it's not S. If I was to thinking about somebody, am I thinking about somebody specifically
right now?
Right now, yeah, maybe. I mean, this could be there.
There are prospects.
This could be there. Yeah.
But is it something that, it's serious for you? Because,
Yeah.
Definitely, there's some people always like, me, I'm just focusing on my
your
goals
work.
right now, because it can also be a distraction as for a creative.
It can.
Don't be on set there, you're upset, you're bringing your own issues from home, you're bringing your issues on set. Everybody's like, can we mic you?
So I'm just like,
no, yeah. No, it's tricky. It can affect your job, or it can actually make your job like even stand out and just be proper.
Very true, very true.
Is that like part of your life that you're actually trying to look forward to? Are you trying to settle down? Are you trying to get married, to propose, get married?
In the future.
Are you in a situation right now?
I'm open to the idea of getting married.
Are you in a situation right now?
I'm not in a situation right now, no.
Hey,
yeah.
If somebody thought they were in a situation,
no,
or make sure you explain to them that this episode was shot earlier, so that like maybe when it comes out.
By the way, it's 9th January. By the way, when you're shooting this, so yeah, just in case that's flexible, because you actually mentioned something very important.
Yeah.
This thing is actually going to air a little later, so I might have already asked somebody out there.
Yeah, and then they're like,
pop. All of a sudden, I'm on the episode saying, yeah.
Trending again.
Like, coming back to what I was saying, like I had a very rough couple of years before all these TV things started. So I'm in a state where I'm like, I'm working on myself. I'm loving the man I'm becoming.
Yeah. Oh, and at times it's always because if once you get to that happy spot, that's the only way you can transfer that energy to.
It's not even transferring that energy. It's just being open to. I think it's good to be in that space before you can bring someone in. It's basically, it's just as in it's like cleaning a house before you can bring someone. Because like I think the last situationships I've been in have not been good, and they've not been good not because of the mama, but because of me, because I was not in a good place.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like,
as much as you'd want it to work, then it wouldn't have.
Yeah. So it's me who is doing the things. It's me who is not calling. It's me who is not paying attention. It's me who's not being the best partner that I could have been, and it's unfortunate. Yeah, it's really bad, and that's why I thought it's important just to take a step back, work on myself, so that there's something that I'm bringing to the table as well. And I don't mean this in terms of in financial resources, in just like emotionally. I can be present in a relationship. I can be there. I can be fully present. I can be a partner, because like now when you're focusing too much about thinking about yourself and all sorts of other funny issues, then I don't want to be the cause of somebody's pain. It's not a good thing.
Not a mature way of just even approaching it anyway.
Yeah, but I think then I get this pressure all the time. In fact, I think the reason why I'm being so combative about this is because, oh my God, every 5 minutes on the internet, somebody is telling me, oh, how come you're single? I even saw Vinio telling me, because I generally on a regular basis will say, and I'm saying this for the camera, that Kenyan women are beautiful, and I will affirm this to my dying breath, because I think it needs to be said more and by more people and more often. But because there's just a lot of negativity online, so I don't see why you shouldn't just also now say.
And it's not everybody that's like that. It's just a specific people who like maybe have gone through a bad experience and they want to project that to other people. It's not necessarily.
I don't know. It's a very weird space right now, because people are just negative by default. I've seen a lot of people starting to leave social media, which is. You need to guard your mental health as much as possible. So you can't be surrounding yourself in negativity 24/7. There's a limit to how far you can push that.
Yeah.
So what I try as much as possible to do when I'm online is I try to be as positive as possible. So I might not be even feeling as positive. I might not be in a good space, but I don't want to project that onto people on the internet.
Yeah.
Then the other thing I realized is, because I have a small following,
it's not small, come on, it's good.
It's like whatever I do like has an impact on how other people start reacting.
Yeah.
So like sometimes I'll just be cracking a joke with somebody I know, then people are saying, oh, it's open season on this guy, then they start now jumping in because they don't have that context. So I've had to become very careful about how I'm talking about stuff, because I realize sometimes I'm the one opening the door to somebody else getting now trolled on the internet.
Yeah.
So I'm very careful about that nowadays. Even if I'm just trolling someone, let me troll them on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Like if it's a private joke, like if I've seen you send some nonsense on the internet, I'll just pull that and then just really go ham on you on WhatsApp. Because like if I did that on the TL, then all of a sudden the whole of Twitter now starts sending on someone,
you don't know what that
they don't have the context, and then like what I realized now, especially what's been happening this week on Twitter, somebody mentioned something about boarding schools and visiting days. And it looks like there's just a lot of unresolved trauma that people are handling on a regular basis. So, like, it's just important just to be kind in all the interactions.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping I have been kind in all the interactions you've had. I mean, in all these places, even when I'm having a few boozes.
Yeah.
Because you just really don't know where
thing,
someone
even like
has come
about
from.
you, like, you know, I've never seen like even bad energy or you arguing with someone. You're always like just having a convo or just having like that a one-on-one talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen you being obnoxious somewhere or anything.
Okay, that's good. That's,
okay, yeah, that like okay. I mean, I'm just saying I've never.
I try as much as possible.
Maybe,
I don't, and I try.
It's a completely different story
on the ground. Ground literally different.
Ground literally different.
No, I think now it would come out. I don't think there's anything I can hide at this point. I'm too visible.
And at
in
times
some
I
of these
think
spaces.
once you start getting other different positions, talking to different people, knowing the responsibilities that you have on your plate, you have to start now trading like just completely differently. You can't, like, look, you have a show, right?
Yeah.
Everything that you do might cost or affect so many other people, depending on how you react or do in certain situations.
Yeah, especially like with the show, like you're right, because like even thinking about I mean the show has a number of people. If something happens to the show, they affects quite a number of people. Yeah, even a lot of the engagements I'm doing now, because what I generally tend to do is I don't have New Year resolutions. I try and come up with a theme in general for the year. So last year's theme was collaboration, and it panned out because I did collaboration now with Trevor, and that's how we end up doing the show. I'm collaborating with Mike with the stuff that you're doing on White Cup, and I mean it's really cool stuff. And like what I was doing with White Cup there, it actually came out of a realization. One of my friends now, Amadai, somebody had come to us and they wanted to start a platform for connecting influencers and brands. Yeah. And one of the things that they mentioned was the quality of what we were putting out was really low, just in general across the board. Yeah. And as we usually very quickly counter with but then it's because you're not being paid a lot of money. So all of a sudden now it's a chicken and egg situation, where like the quality is not that spectacular because you're not being paid that much, and then you're not being paid that much because the quality is not spectacular. So what I was trying to do now with like what I'm doing on White Cup is, and actually the thing is, those guys were, I think they're from Israel or South Africa, I can't remember where. And the one thing that they said that stuck with me is, you guys have the exact same tools as every influencer in the rest of the world. You have iPhones, you have high-end Androids, you have cameras, you have everything. Internet. There is absolutely no reason why your content can't be as good as guys are counting. Oh, we don't have the same experiences. Like, no. Look at like YouTube, the top. Man. Look at the top guys, not like the top guys who are doing stuff. Especially like vlogging, for instance. Yes, once in a while they'll do this spectacular vlog in Hawaii, where most of the time they're just talking about their daily, everyday, regular stuff. Things. So what is stopping you from doing that?
You haven't even attempted that, and you're complaining.
So that's when I was like, hey, okay, what I'm going to have to do, I'm just going to have to really genuinely work on the quality. Yeah. And I think the fact that and this is what makes me so happy, like, you're calling me a car guy because you've seen the stuff that I've done, not hard about because like I found it very difficult for the longest time to call myself a creative. But I have work that you can see that I created. So by default, then I'm a creative.
Producing.
It's not. I really can't say so. And I try as much as possible to make it better every time, to make it more interesting every time. I'm still looking now, like in 2020. What else can I do? How else can I do it?
What more can you do differently, right?
Yeah, what improvement can I do? So I'm really very open to feedback. That's why every time I keep telling people, I mean, it's like you're saying, I'll never shit on you on Twitter, so just ask me. Just tell me. If something pops up, if you're seeing something I'm doing and you think I could do something better, just holla. Yeah. Me, I'm very open. My DMs are open across the board. So as to your earlier questions, yes, my DMs are open. But like I'm open to collaborations. I'm open to trying new stuff. If you currently have a drone and your license, please let's have a conversation. My God.
That license. Isn't that license a name, bro?
Yes. $10,000, man. It's crazy.
Like I'm sure even guys from different countries are like, $10,000
for a drone.
license,
Yeah.
not the drone
Yeah,
itself.
that's the thing. And the
Yeah.
drone itself is like $400. Is that making
Can you
any
tell
sense?
me? Tell me.
Madness. But anyway, like
Yeah.
my theme last year was collaboration. My theme for this year is basically consistency.
Yeah.
So now that I seem to be onto something, can I make sure I'm doing it consistently over time? Because I think that's one of the ways that I can grow.
True.
Because when you're putting that pressure of I have to put out content on a regular basis, then it forces me to think about where am I going to do it. Like that's the key thing that I'm looking for. I am praying for the spirit of Kaluhi's consistency to fall upon me this year.
Yo,
have
you'll
you seen Kaluhi's stuff, by the way? As in Kaluhi's kitchen.
No.
She does this food.
Yeah.
My God, as in she's
and
so,
pictures, videos, super consistent, chilled out. She just focuses on what she does.
Yeah. So like me, to be very honest, seems that I have the quality.
It's a lady, right?
Okay, yeah, she's a lady. Yes.
Okay, yeah. I'm just saying, like, maybe I'm just saying that, and because I've never seen her.
Yeah.
She's never posted like.
She
her
does
pictures.
occasionally, yeah. But on Twitter, I think maybe you are very big on Instagram.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking for in 2020 is consistency.
Yeah.
It's just am I going to be able to put this content out on a regular basis? Then I'm hoping that's what's going to help now with some of the other stuff.
I'm getting married to these kids. So, but anyway,
I will watch my language.
We're almost.
Watch my
No.
language.
I'm just saying because how they're trading there.
Okay.
But anyway, because I know we are almost running out of time, because I have to get in the next guest.
No problem. I had so much more left to say.
No, we're doing that on the part
excited.
2. We're doing that on part 2. So on my last question, it would be, what's the one thing that you think you're in pursuit of? Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Okay.
What's the one thing that you think? Just please stop her. What's the one thing that you think you're in pursuit of?
Yeah.
And if you got it right now, it would make things. It would give you satisfaction differently, and just give like maybe your life better direction and stuff.
One thing.
Yeah, that you think if you get right now that you're chasing this year.
That's the thing. Like for me, it's just that. It's that spirit of consistency. If I can be more disciplined about how I'm doing this content, that will make a real change in everything. Because I think that's the one thing that will lead to everything else. I think that would lead to more money. Obviously, that will lead to more
For sure.
experiences. That would lead to more opportunities. Because like if I'm able to take advantage of the opportunity once it presents itself. So I think for me that's that thing. If I can unlock that level, because it's something I've been struggling with. If I can unlock that level of that discipline and consistency, then I think that would be it. And that's something I'm actively looking at doing. I think that now once that is sorted, now it opens up everything else. Because now can do more content on a regular basis. I can at least now. As opposed to last year, because last year now a lot of the pictures we were doing now of an idea. Now there's a body of work I can work with.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking at now, building upon the stuff that I've already been doing. So that's the thing. Anything else now that I don't know. We could all do with $1 million in our account. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like it's not.
Let's get it.
It'll be
It's a new year.
Transformative amount of
the
money.
possibilities are endless.
Yeah, but like I think that's basically it. If I could just get that sorted,
you're in a good space.
Then I'd be in a good space. I think it would open up a lot of the things that I'm planning. I'm hoping to do a lot more car content. I'm hoping to do a lot more travel, especially within Kenya, because like we've been doing a lot of stuff outside.
Yeah, Kenya is beautiful.
I really genuinely want to do more. Rusinga Island, Turkana. Just really length and breadth of the country, so I can see a little more of it. And obviously, this is, I mean, travel by itself, in and of itself. The other thing is, I really haven't, with all these trips I've been doing, it's for work.
You want to go and just
travel. So right now I just want to,
travel.
I really want to take some time for myself.
Relax.
I don't know if you've ever had like just the opportunity to experience something and not have to tweet about it or Instagram it or whatever. I mean, I don't have to.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I have the same disease. I have to share and stuff, but it's just training.
I'm feeling like I need some time. So I think I'm going to take a holiday for the first time in a very long time this year. That's the plan. And if I can work on my if I can be blessed with the level of consistency Kaluhi has, then this is going to be my year. This is going to be my year. 100%.
I'll call us my next. Hook me up with.
I will most
connect
definitely.
us and then let me have on the podcast.
No problem.
So now we really do have to wrap it up.
Okay,
so
no problem.
Tell the people where they can find you, your handles and everything.
Yep.
Before we just say goodbye.
Well, yeah, I'm Mwirigi everywhere. So MWIRIGI on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube because I have my own channel. Then for the show itself, just look for the words CBBT. So that's Cars with Big Boy Trev. All our season 1, season 2 is on YouTube. We have additional stuff that's not on the show, that's also on the YouTube itself. Also on the Twitter handle is again CBBT, Instagram CBBT. But you can holler at me directly at Mwirigi. MWIRIGI.
Okay, that's it, guys. Make sure you follow him. Make sure you follow him.
All is well.
We are across all social platforms: iTunes, Castbox, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You can get regular updates there, and just make sure you support, like, share. That's the only way you can actually. We are not on Patreon or on any of those platforms yet.
Why not?
We will be there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Just like, share, and subscribe.
So
we'll get there.
get a pay bill number. Don't even.
By the way, we should just use what's in Kenya, though, right?
Straight up, yeah.
But guys, make sure just like, share, keep subscribing. If you have any people that you'd like us to have on the podcast, please just share the link, contacts or everything, and we'll just be in touch. Otherwise, thanks for supporting us. It's the Kiss Capades Podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.